Let's just talk about Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul.
Oh God.
Let's rip this band-aid off.
Man, that was
So,
a rough one.
Anderson Silva. Okay, so I listened to Morning Combat. BC is kind of a boxing guy. He said he had the fight scored 4 rounds to 4 going into the last round. And then, although I guess that doesn't make sense because there are 8 rounds. So how do you have it 4-4? I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, like, is kind of close
Yeah,
up until the knockdown.
dude, it was kind of close, but I thought that Jake was taking over the latter half of the fight pretty clearly.
Yeah, me too.
It was very
So
strange. It seemed like Anderson Silva was taking the first round off with the strategy
and
of
then he
like
still
taking him in
gassed out.
deeper, but he was the one who seemed worse in the later
Yeah,
rounds. So seemed maybe he should have done the opposite. Maybe he should have come
I
out
mean,
quicker
dude, apparently
and tried
people
to
are saying
hunt for
like
the knockout.
that was a
Knockout.
really fun boxing fight. I'll take their word for it. Um, I just don't want to see a bad boxing fight if that's the case. I also don't even want to see another fun boxing fight. Show me the best boxing fight of all time, and then
Yeah, I
I'll
don't know
watch
how you boxing fans do it, man. I honestly have respect for you. Like you must be fucking dedicated to this sport. Crazy, dude. The thing, it's just MMA, dude. MMA is such a more dynamic sport.
dude.
Like
Okay.
any
Who cares? Jake
whatever,
Paul.
fine,
Who do you want
fine,
to see
fine.
him fight next?
Fight, dude. Just fight. Oh my god,
Okay, let me ask you. Let me change
fight
it. Let
him.
me change that question. Who would you? Who? Which of his potential opponents would you actually watch? Like, if you're like, oh, it's a Thursday night. Jake Paul's fighting. I'll throw it on. Let
Dude,
me just run through the
I'm
names.
gonna watch this fight.
Tommy Fury. I think that's his
Yeah.
name. Tommy Fury. Would you
Yep.
watch
Yep.
it live?
Yes.
Okay, I would.
No, live. I don't know, but I'm watching it.
I mean, if it's like a Wednesday night, you don't have
Yeah, yeah,
anything to
sure, whatever.
do.
As long as nothing's conflicting. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Fine.
I see. I literally would not turn that fight on. I'd rather watch like some kind of
Oh, come on,
YouTube video of
dude.
a guy like shooting
Here's the
himself in the head or
thing.
something.
I don't know. You say that, but he always makes it interesting. He always makes it
Dude, I
interesting. He
didn't
always
watch
just
the
some
second Woodley
stupid
fight.
bet. Like, I didn't either, but there wasn't enough build up to it. He always makes some stupid bet. He always, dude. I wasn't even gonna
Okay,
watch
let's
this
just
Anderson
keep going
Silva
down the
fight.
list. Tommy Fury, you'd watch.
I'd watch it. Yeah. Plus,
Um,
yeah, there's just been enough build up to it now. Like there's been the
Nate
canceled
Diaz
fight, all that stuff. No,
in
God,
boxing.
I don't. Depends how good the press conference.
Dude,
Yeah, yeah,
I
okay,
would
fine.
watch the shit out of that. Come
It
on,
would be really bad. It would be a
it'd
bad
be Nate
boxing
Diaz
fight.
getting TKO'd, like standing
But it would
TKO'd.
be, dude, it would be atrociously bad. Like,
Yeah, it'd be
whatever.
horrible.
It would be a terrible fight. I mean, at least, yeah, okay,
But
whatever.
maybe some of the Nate Diaz fans would like
It's
stop
literally
being
Jake
so
Paul versus
annoying.
a
Yeah,
worse opponent. Okay, that's fair.
worse
Maybe
opponent
it's a
than
good.
Silva.
The press conference would be good. Maybe whatever.
Floyd Mayweather.
Uh, yeah, because I think because I want to see either of those guys lose, but I want to see an actual like it can't be exhibition bullshit.
Right?
Like it
Yeah,
has to be an
exactly.
actual like they can't do the thing where they fight to a decision, which is inevitably going to happen, and no, there's no winner. Like
Dude,
I will actually, and that will actually determine whether I watch it. If
dude,
there's no winner or whatever, I'm not going to watch it.
Paul said he would get down to 175 and Mayweather could get up to 165 and then the commission would sanction it. I would watch that a lot.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay. Out of those three, which are
Yeah,
you
let's see.
most interested in?
Um, Nate, fuck, dude. It all just really depends on his marketing. I guess I'll say, you know what? I guess I'll say Tommy Fury. Actually, it might be a hot take, but it's a natural progression.
I mean, you'd see
He
him
needs to.
knock Tommy Fury out.
Tommy Fury's okay. Are we just admitting because like his only criticism at this point is like he hasn't fought a young boxer, right?
Well, dude, apparently Tommy Fury sucks at boxing. That's the problem.
Does he suck at boxing? I mean,
Yeah, that's what
how
everyone
bad did he suck?
says. I
He's
was
part of
listening
the
to
Fury
Morning
family.
Combat. Both of them picked Jake Paul to like knock Fury out.
Okay, what about that other guy he was gonna fight that got canceled?
Hasim Rock, I don't think he'd fight
Rockman
him
Jr.
again. The guy literally said like, oh, I'm on weight, and he was like 20 pounds over or something.
What the fuck? All right. Well, can we just set him up versus? I mean, look. I'd say the only interesting part of the Jake Paul experiment is,
Is him versus MMA guys.
well, I was gonna say how far he can get, right? Like, there's a natural
Dude.
progression of skill level. I want to see how far he can get. He
Okay,
fought a
after listening
YouTuber.
to Morning Combat and after listening to Ariel Hawani's show when he interviewed him, I am sincerely doubting his goal is to become the best boxer. I am really doubting that.
No, I don't even care what his goal is. It's interesting to see how far he can get. Like, is boxing really such a terrible sport that Tommy Fury, who's like the son of a famous boxer, the brother of a famous boxer, training his whole life, still gets beaten by a guy who's been like, just the years of training matter, right?
I don't
Or
think
no,
he's
am I
been
wrong?
training
Am I
seriously
wrong
though.
about
He was
that?
on like a TV show. He was on like Love Island or something.
Okay, but I mean, still, I'm assuming, has he not been? I thought he said he's been training since he's a
I
kid.
don't know,
Like,
dude.
he
Tommy
grew up
Fury
in the
kind of sounds
boxing
like a
ring.
dumbass. Jesus Christ. I listened to him on Ariel's show. Did you hear
Look,
that interview?
yeah, I did. Yeah,
It was so bad.
it was pretty bad. I mean, he said the generic shit. Like, I'd knocked these boys both out in the same round, same night. The first time I hit him, whatever, all the boring shit. But like, let's just this. My only point of reference is jiu-jitsu. Once again, there is no chance, assuming the two guys are similar sizes, and even then, even if they're different sizes,
Yeah.
that one guy who's been training for 10 years versus another guy who's been training for 2 years, the
Like
guy who's
5
training
years
for
at
10
this
years.
point.
Okay, well, no, but I'm just giving an example. Like, Tommy
Okay.
Fury's been training for more than 10 years. He's been training apparently his
Okay,
whole
okay.
life, right? Okay,
He said he's been
so
around boxers his whole life. It's like
what
he
does that
picks shit
mean?
up through osmosis, I guess.
Okay. Well, if he hasn't really been like training since he's a kid, then that's different. But okay, in jiu-jitsu, like 10-year guy versus 2-year guy, 10-year guy is gonna win every time, like every single time. I don't even care
Unless you're
how
like
small
bigger
you
than
are,
him.
but even then, it's so difficult, dude.
Okay,
Like,
I
I've
guess
seen,
10-year is like black belt
that's a
level or like
huge
brown
difference.
belt
Like, if
level.
you're a black belt, like, it's crazy. Like, that's a different level. All right.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, I actually like literally saw my because like my
Okay,
jiu-jitsu coach was a
dude,
purple
stay on
belt,
track.
same
Jesus
size.
Christ.
Okay, fine. You're right. You're right. So my only question is boxing not like that? Has anyone leave a comment? If you're a boxer, is boxing not like that? Is boxing not like you train for 10 years, you're gonna win 100% against a guy who's been
Dude,
training for
I
two
don't
years?
fucking know.
Does that
Okay.
does the
I
sheer amount of time spent in the ring not matter to you guys? Because if
dude.
so, then I don't give a fuck about your sport. Like, it makes no sense to me.
Dude, okay. So dude, Jake Paul literally called boxing an art in his interview. I'm like, oh my god, pick up a fucking paintbrush. Okay, no, but dude, the thing is this. The thing is this. I was thinking about this like the other day. Jake Paul is actually a fucking genius because this is what he's doing. He's picking at a much more popular sport than boxing, right? I honestly think Jake Paul doesn't give a shit about boxing. He's focused on MMA. He said Anderson Silva was like his childhood hero. He's obviously an MMA fan. He keeps targeting Dana White, the president of the UFC, which is the biggest MMA company like in history. He's going after aging MMA legends, Tyrone Woodley. People literally put him on like the welterweight Mount Rushmore. Like he literally has some of the most welterweight championship defenses out of all of the champions. He was actually like a great champion. He had a great run up to being champion.
Right.
Anderson Silva, widely regarded as GOAT. Ben Askren, honestly, like one of the most controversial and famous fighters from the past 5 years. He's taking all of these guys out, and he's doing it so smartly. He's getting them when they're a little bit past their prime, but they still have name value. And then he's taking
Yeah.
away about, I would say, 75% of their skills into an area, into like this slim margin that he actually
Right.
has a chance of beating them. Dude, he's just an MMA fighter that doesn't want to do the hard work of MMA. Can we just like be honest about that? He's going to
I
keep
mean,
picking at MMA
one
fighters
way
that
to
the
look at
UFC
it.
discards until he just gets tired of it or he
Well, and
eventually transfers to MMA.
those are all high, um, like low risk reward matchups, I guess. The really high reward to
Right.
really low risk
Because they're all
because of the
super
name
famous.
value.
Okay,
Yeah.
getting knocked out by Ben Askren would suck. But
No, I
he's
know, but
pretty
there was
favored to
so
win
little
that fight.
risk, and once again, Ben Askren has a name. He's somewhat big enough. You know, you have to, in terms of the pool of opponents, it was a good one, especially for as early in his career as it was. So, I mean, but I will also say, like, when you look at Jake Paul's career, there's a clear progression. There is a clear progression from opponent to opponent, from like Askren to
Right,
Woodley to
right.
Woodley 2 to Silva. So I have no problem with it if he continues that progression. He's never said I'm a really, really good boxer and I'm fighting the best guys who
I
are
mean, he
willing to
did
fight me.
call
Like
out
that's not what
Canelo.
he says. Okay, now, yeah, didn't before. The thing is, like, he's honestly been pretty honest in his marketing. That's like the one thing I'll say. He's always just said, "Look, I'm just getting into the sport. I'm not." He even said when he was talking to that manager dude, Eddie Hearn, like, I
Hmm.
I'm not at the level to fight Canelo yet, but I'll fight a guy who's has like 10 fights. You know, for like an undefeated guy with 10 fights on your roster. Like he's just saying, look, let's just see how far I can take this. I'm new to the sport, and I'm just going to keep fighting guys. I'm going to keep fighting guys who are close to my skill level,
Dude,
and let's just see where this goes. And that's totally reasonable. I think that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that.
can I just say
Let's just see how far it goes.
before we end this segment,
It's very
there are
honest.
two endpoints. I don't really care about Jake Paul's next fight, but there are two endpoints that I would be happy with this little story arc of his.
Mm-hmm.
One endpoint, he fights Canelo and beats Canelo. Okay? That's one
That would
endpoint.
be legend. That would be legendary. Like you have you.
Dude, that
That
would
would be
literally mark the end
legendary.
of boxing. I think that would mark
I
like
totally hope so.
Canelo's the most famous boxer there is right now. Famous active boxer there is. If Jake Paul beats
And
him,
widely considered to be like one of the best, like
and Jake
just
Paul's
all
bigger
around.
than
Yeah.
Canelo too. Like Canelo
Is he?
lost to what is that? What is that guy's name? I don't even know.
I forget what his name is. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Golovkin
about.
or something. Canelo lost to a guy that was bigger than him. If Jake Paul like fights him, dude, in a few years maybe he's skilled enough. I don't fucking know.
But that would be crazy.
I mean he beat
Let's
Anderson
just be
Silva.
that would be insane because that would just prove like that would prove the whole thing where people say it's an art, there's a purity to it, takes skill, it's not brawling.
It's like
That's wrong.
bullshit.
Like it's no skill apparently because if it were truly a skill based
No
sport,
skill.
Canelo would
It's
be
no skill. If Jake
like.
Paul beats Canelo, boxing has no skill whatsoever.
But seriously, how would that be possible if it's a skill based sport? Like
Dude,
I don't
I
get
don't
it.
think there's that much. I think there's skill. I just think that like the ceiling you
Okay, well,
reach,
whatever.
I think there's a
Yeah,
low
I
ceiling.
guess if the skill is so easily attainable that in 5 years you're beating like world champs or whatever.
Dude, Anderson Silva literally beat a world champ in boxing. Obviously, he's past his prime, but Anderson Silva is too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I
Anyway,
know,
I
dude.
think that there's like a ceiling level of skill, and then after that, it's just like genetics. That's like your variables. Anyway, that's one end goal. The other end goal, transition to MMA. Lose a
Dude,
boxing
it's
fight.
too hard. It's just too hard. I don't even want to like
No, but he could do the
MMA
same
is
thing where he fights older MMA guys. Old MMA
no,
guys
yeah.
need
Could
paydays.
he could cherry pick matchups, but
He would
I don't know,
literally
man.
give
I'm just
his
not
like whole
interested.
shtick a new life.
Maybe I would be
And
interested, but
dude,
like
honestly, like it's definitely
old guys
hard.
boxing, dude. Old guys boxing is looks way more like good boxing. It's way closer to the high levels of
And like
boxing
old guy
than
wrestling.
old guys doing MMA.
Yeah, that's true.
Old guys doing MMA looks terrible. Just
But dude,
visually, it
also
looks
like
like not even close to what you want to see.
if he starts training MMA, like yeah, I guess he's kind of old for like to start training MMA, but dude, he has enough money. Like he could just do $1 million training camps and actually kind of be
Oh,
good.
for sure. Dude, for sure. And I mean, once again, if he cherry picks his matchups correctly, it could be fine.
Dude,
But
he
like,
starts his own MMA organization. That'd be crazy. That would
That'd
actually
be crazy.
be the craziest. Like,
Well, dude, also like I really do want to see him
start a fighter
start
union.
an fighter union with Anderson Silva. I feel like people weren't talking about that enough after
I mean,
the
Ariel
fight.
asked him once, and he kind of like brushed it off. He's kind of like, "Oh yeah,
I
we
know,
talked
I
about it."
know. That was weird. Like you would think Ariel was on top of that shit, like
Yeah,
always
I don't know why.
consistently.
I think it's just like he's. I don't know. The relationship might be strained. He was kind of criticizing Jake Paul after Jake Paul said some bad things about Rockhold Costa.